Hi, hello. Welcome to DevConf. We are starting with surviving operational Chernobyl, a topic that I will refer about three aspects. First will be how my operations team is operating, that we don't have many issues on productions, and in case of having such, we are able to resolve them. First, I will present you shortly 3 steps that you should do if you want to have well-working operations. And then at the last will be the real cases from production, from my projects. The last will be ongoing because when I was preparing this presentation, the issue happens and we were in the middle of resolving it. So, welcome to Chernobyl. Right now we are in Łódź. I am very happy because on every conference that I'm speaking, I'm telling that Łódź is a great place to live and work. I should add also for conferences. And this is the first time this year that I'm talking in Łódź. So I have 100% of effectiveness of bringing you to Łódź. I'm happy about that you are here. Enjoy the city. I'm working at Macolab, and for the last 20 years, I'm more or less in the project management area. For the last 3 years, I built up the operations team that is operating in DevOps, operation, maintenance and support area, including 24/7. I like traveling to not ordinary places, abandoned sites, like, for example, Chernobyl, that I was a few years ago. And also, I'm quite a creative person because the case is that I wrote a book, Stories for Kids. Recently, it is under printing right now, so it will be soon on the market. Visiting Chernobyl was a very cool experience. Right now, when I'm going during the night, I don't need to light up the lights in the room because I'm glowing. So, welcome to Chernobyl. We are starting our journey, our operations journey, the journey how to build the team, how to build the processes to make it effective. My team, I am saying that we are doing DevOps SAP plugin approach. Usually, when we are entering the project, we are in the middle. On one side, we have Macolab project team, which is developers, testers, scrum masters, project managers, and so on. Everything is developed within that team. We are taking care of all of the technical aspects that they need to operate to deliver the code. We are taking care of the environments, also on the prod ones. We are taking care of monitoring all of the IT processes, the CI/CD pipelines, usually Jenkins, which I will refer in the real cases at the later stage of this presentation. And generally, we are taking care of the whole scope that is on our side, also including end users, customers, and product owners on the other side. So, why plugin approach? Because this is the full scope of competencies that I built for the last 3 years in the company. And right now we can enter any project at any stage with any involvement that is needed. For example, we can just go into the project, plug in my team. For example, someone is requesting to recreate the environments because they were created manually. They want to do it via Terraform. So we are analyzing, preparing the Terraform scripts, deploying the environment, and if not needed, we are plugged out from the project. So any task, anytime. We did some certifications. We are now multi-cloud. It doesn't matter what cloud you are working for, mostly with AWS and Azure. And as you can see on the picture, we are men in black, so working 24/7. And with the white guys from the project and from the customer side, we are doing knowledge sharing and we are participating into Scrum events if that's important from our side. If you are thinking about operations, about handling the issues on production, about resolving the cases that you may have, we may, for example, imagine that we have a shop and we are selling t-shirts. So in case that we will have 6 hours of outage during the night, what will be the impact? The impact will be that we will not sell the t-shirts. We don't know how many. Some of the customers will come back in the morning, some not. So it will impact our revenues. It will impact our sales process, maybe some marketing area. But my team is taking care of life-saving processes and life-saving operations of the applications. All those pictures are from my visit in Chernobyl. So this is exact place that I was visiting. So why operational Chernobyl? This is critical to maintain the operation of application on production. But in our case, we are, for example, supporting the communication between the planes and the ground systems. So what happens if they will not communicate? you can only imagine. The next is that we are supporting applications like handling eCall processes. Do you know what is an eCall? Okay, one person knows. An eCall is a button in a new cars that is giving you the possibility to call for help in case that you will be injured, you will have an accident or anything else. In case that you will not be able, after the incident, to call for help, it is calling automatically, sending the data from the car, how many passengers were inside, just to adjust the help that is needed to rescue your life. So we are on the operation side and also on development side, supporting such application. This is located on AWS across the whole worldwide, so 3 hubs. Access is from the intranet to make it more secure, but also is from the intranet because some of the markets are not able to be more secure than we should. So during 2 years, we handled 1.5 million eCalls, which means that for the 2 years, only for one car brand, there were 1.5 million cases when there was a risk that we will not save life if the application will not be working. This is the case that we have on our production. And generally, as we are here, during this talk, there will be 85 calls. So in case of having 1 hour failure, 1 hour outage, we may miss 85 possibilities to save people's lives. And during this talk, there will be one in Poland, maybe in Łódź, I don't know. Okay, so let's move forward. Now I refer to what to do before the critical situation will happen on production, what you can do when it's already reported to you, and what to do after it, after you resolve it, after you hotfix it. So first, what you can do before is quite obvious, yes? Prepare documentation. Raise your hand who has 100% documentation of the code. No one, okay. So I will say that this is the most important part, to understand what we are supporting, understand what we are doing, because the people that are writing the code usually are not supporting the code on production. Developers does not like to work 24/7. Yes, they are maybe during the business hours, which is a great value for resolving the issues during the business hours. But what if the critical situation will happen on Sunday? So documentation also for the processes and having the processes in place, having the procedures in place. Who of you is working or connecting with operations 24/7 and you know that there are some emergency procedures? 2 persons, 3, yes, out of all of you. So it should be established. And this is not only established, but also it should be done repeatedly, yes? You should perform trainings, you should perform outage tests, you should train your team how to manage those situations, and also, what is very important from my perspective, the knowledge sharing is a critical aspect here. You can prepare the best disaster recovery, you can prepare the best emergency procedures, you can prepare the best checklist, but without training and sharing this knowledge and having common understanding what you need to do when the shit happens, you will not be able to resolve it as soon as possible, as effective as possible, and it will not be the highest quality. Just a simple samples from my production projects, of course anonymized. So on the left is the sample of the end user manual, just to avoid the end users to contact us because they didn't clear cookies after something and the application is not working. On the right, you can see from the Confluence the structure of the documentation that I have in one of the projects that is referring to all of the possible cases and informations that we can grab in case that the incident will reach us. Next 2 cases on the left is the outage tests report with some specification, very briefly for the customer what we will do, and on the right you can see the checklist of the procedure of deployment. This is only the checklist dedicated for the operational part. There's also checklist for the devs, QAs, and so on. And this checklist refers to the procedures. Below that procedures we have manuals, and below that manuals we have frequently asked questions about the issues that we may face during the deployment process. Okay, so it happens. We received a critical incident on production. What to do now? How to be prepared? We know that we should be prepared, yes? But when it hits us directly, what we can do to resolve this as soon as possible? We need to identify first what is going on. So the first person responsibility in my team is to identify really what is going on, because what is reported in the incident is not always what is really happening on production. And usually it is not the same. So then you should integrate the knowledge that you need to resolve the incident and integrate the people that you will need to resolve the case. Intercept others' perspective. If you have the meeting, you are discussing what is the case, you need to intercept what are the every single person perspective on this specific case, because someone may have such kind of idea that will be useful for you, but you will not have the perspective that there is something behind our discussion. Then, to build a common understanding, you should inform about the current situation and, of course, investigate and collectively try to resolve the issue. This sounds easy, but in case of having a stress that every hour we are losing 85 equals, it's not so easy to work under the situation on production. Just a sample emergency procedure that we have. This is just the checklist. So for example, when I'm joining the call because we are not able, as here, within 60 minutes to resolve the issue, I can go through the checklist that is ticked and I know what was done, what is the situation. It is bringing me easier to the real situation and point in time where we are. So what we do after we will resolve or hotfix the situation, yes? Imagine that we bring the bridge back to be working, the trains can go left and right, but this is not the end. This is the end of the issue. This is the end of the critical situation on production, but this is not the end of our work, because after that, this is very important to gather the knowledge from all of the participants. And all the participants are not only the people that were involved into resolving the issue. All participant means that those are all of the people that may have any additional knowledge about the incident or about the situation. Retrospection, so to discuss and have the common perspective about the situation and receive also all feedback from the members, and then to fix the issue, because sometimes we are hotfixing it on production, we are not delivering the final fix, which is quite obvious, so we need to fix it, correct, and document. After that, on the layer of emergency procedures of the disaster recovery process, you should update them. In case that you will find something, for example, during the retro, that you may optimize, or there were steps that were not done but should be to give us the possibility to resolve the issue quicker, it is good to update those procedures, and then prepare once again for every single and every next critical incident. This is just a sample of the tables that we are using for documenting root cause analysis after the incident and some lessons learned. First is more dedicated for the technical part. The second is more dedicated to the operational part of handling the critical situations on production. Okay, so let's move to the real cases from production. I will say at the very beginning that unfortunately there will be no time for deep dive in every single situation that I wanted to show to you. There are multiple situations, and also I want to give you some insight about what kind of issues we are facing in our team, what are the responsibilities, because 2/3 of all of the issues are not in our responsibility. At the end, we are hit by others' failures, and the first case is about the missing SLA. Missing SLA is a very important part, because when you are missing SLA, it may mean that nothing happened on production, but on the management level, they've got the very nice PowerPoint presentations, KPIs, SLAs, circles, and so on, so you will bring yourself on the red part of that. So we received the ticket raised by the monitoring system, so it was automated incident. We work on the fix. This is not important in this case, what was the root cause, but we were focusing on resolving the issue, delivering the resolution on production, not about handling the incidents. And the fix was delivered on time. We also delivered, we had the feedback from the end users that everything is working fine, but this was our failure. We forgot to close the incident. So not always the breached SLAs and breached incidents means that you are not capable of resolving the incident of time. Sometimes this is a case of doing something more important. The next one is for the free calls. I will explain it a bit more. We have an application that is receiving a call from the car, and there should be an end button. Unfortunately, after deployment, we discovered that this end button is not working. So that was the case. On the front end, there was no link to the back end that will bring the call to end. It was reported as high, so we had 4 hours for resolution, but after discovering that we have a failover situation, fallback scenario for that, in case the call was calling us 3 times. Yes, just to be sure that it is received from our side. So everything was working, e-calls were received, we are able to send help for the people, but we decided that there is no hurry into resolving this. Yes, so the front-end developer sits together with the back-end developer. They discovered quite shortly what is the issue, input the proper link, and after that it was working. It was important for us at this stage to provide the full QA, because, which is our failure, we missed to identify the issue on the lower stages of environments. We breached the SLAs, and we needed 4 hours to confirm worldwide for all of the markets that the situation is working fine. We are talking about markets working 24/7, different languages and different teams, different companies. So it was not easy to having confirmation from all of them after that. Okay, moving forward, this will be the first case that was beyond our control. When you are logging to one of the applications that we are supporting, you are using two-factor authentication just to be more secure than you can. And unfortunately, we had the situation that this two-factor authentication stops working. What does it mean for the application? Application was working fine. Pods were on, cluster was on, everything was working, database was on. The logged users were able to work with the application, but the new users were not able to log in. And what could we do? It was a critical one, because in this case, there were shifts just to handle the 24/7 operational for this application from the end user's perspective. And unfortunately, the 2FA team was not aware of that. And this is also the common case that I will talk during this situations, that unfortunately, it is quite often, at least in the projects that we are running, that we are identifying the problem on other side. We are not informed by them that, hello, we are 2FA team, we have an issue, you will not be able to log into your application. This opposite. We are identifying, after checking all of our dependencies, that there is something with 2FA, and we are informing usually the other team that, hello, you got an issue. Why? Because our application is critical on production, so we are first informed that something is not working. But we had a possibility to override this situation by 2FA, based on the situation that we were starting with the development of the project from the very beginning. The developers and the architects already think about such situations. So it was just a simple change in the config that we were able to shortly deliver to production, just to disable 2FA. So it will be less secure, but the application will be working and the new user will be able to log in temporarily till the 2FA team will resolve the issue. We were doing the E2E deployment and checking on E2E if just simple fast QA, if the not 2FA access is working, and then we receive the information that 2FA resolves the issue. So we were hit by other team. We were prepared for that because we assumed that there might be such situation, and the importance of having working application brings us to the case that it was already covered, and we were ready within 3 minutes after 1 hour SLA just to deliver it on production. So in case of other teams, sometimes it is important to think what you can do on your side, on your application, just to make it working if someone else will fail, because it will happen. The next one is the network issue. This is the next issue that we needed to identify that someone else has a problem. The problem that we should be notified, because unfortunately for some time application was not available for all of the markets. And the root cause, after checking everything on our side, again, pod running, database running, application accessible from our internal access, and so on, there was a failure of the primary firewall, which brings the situation that also the backup didn't work. Maybe not very usual case that two firewalls will not stop working, but it affects us on the business layer, yes, and life-saving possibility. So in this case, for the big companies and also for the automotive companies, just to give you the background, if you are deploying like Macolab, your application, you are not deploying it on Macolab's cloud, yes? You are using their cloud, they are having their own instances, they are giving you some space, some responsibility, and some possibility to manage your area in the cloud. And there are multiple teams responsible, for example, for network, responsible for delivering for you the whole CI/CD instances, and so on, and you are dependent on that teams, and you cannot do anything when such situation will happen. The next one is the list of refunds. In the application, we have the list of refunds that the agent was able to choose which one to proceed, talk with customer, and decide if he should receive a refund or not. Very simple issue, something that was not, I would say, predicted by developers, and this is not a good example of delivering the code and assuming that everything will be working fine, because the real situation was that when we deployed the new version and introduced the new markets, the list of refunds has extended very much, because we bring those refunds from other systems. And the developer did not think about how the front end will look if we will input 1,000 of refunds in one list on one page, yes? So it was really simple issue of pagination. It was working for the user because he was waiting 1 or 2 minutes to load everything, yes? But generally, this was our mistake on the dev side with the project side, and generally understanding how big might be this list, and generally based on the ITIL methodology, we didn't resolve it during the incident. We opened the problem investigation, and we fixed it after that. But not always you have the issues that are coming from production. Sometimes you have the issues that are coming from not thinking before you write the code. And based on the side of DevOps, operations, maintenance, and support, you cannot do anything about that. Yes, of course, you can have in the team people that are capable of develop the code and fix the code, but you are not able to resolve all of the issues. The next one, first in cloud. It is quite interesting situation. Sometimes it is not good to be first in cloud. In one of the projects, there was a setup of the cloud from the customer side, and we were invited to that as one of the first companies and applications that we will be working in the new setup. So a lot of tasks, a lot of processes, a lot of configs were done manually because it was not established yet. The official way, for example, for setting up the config files. And the team responsible for the cloud, after 1 or 1.5 years, decided that they will run on a daily basis the Terraform script that will unify all of the configs on that cloud. Very good approach, not to break something, and having the 100% sure that everything is configured as it should be, and also to introduce the changes on a daily manner if we need to change something and not do it manually. But they forgot that few of the applications were done before they invited the process for that, and they forgot just simply to implement our configs. So it was quite a critical situation. We need to change our config manually, they need to change their config manually. We agree that on our side the config is okay, and on their side they will implement it into the Terraform, and next day they will also deploy it with our changes, but they didn't. So the next day the next time of the Terraform scripts run, we had the same situation. Fortunately, it took it only 2 times them to resolve the whole situation. Okay, my love Jenkins. I really love Jenkins. For the 2 years that I was working in a project with Jenkins, there was so many outages from the team that was delivering the instances for Jenkins for us that it was a real nightmare. So on the right, you can see the list only from 4 months, how many incidents we raised to Jenkins team, asking to make the Jenkins works again. And unfortunately, it was quite important. So this is not important what was the case here, because this was only the situation that some minor request was not sent between 2 applications. And generally, we identified the issue, we were ready with the fix. But we had 3 days with the low priority to resolve the issue. And we were not able during those 3 days to deploy anything to production because Jenkins was not working. And of course, we had manual processes, and in case that it will be something critical, we will do with the manual process. But how often are you checking how, or maybe I will ask other questions. How many of you have manual deployment processes? Few, okay. Did you use it any time in the last year? Yes, okay. So I expect that you know how to do it, yes? We were in the situation that we had that process, but it was the first time that we should run it. So after that, we add to our trainings and tests, not only outage tests with possibility that Jenkins is working, but also how to prepare manual deployment from scratch, yes? This is the lesson that we took. So during 4 months, 4 months brings us around 80 working days. For 21 days, Jenkins was not working for us. It means that hopefully it was, we are not affected on production during that time. But if we are talking about delivery of the sprint goals, about preparing the demo for the customer, everyone knows that if we have demo at 10, there might be some PRs merge at 9:55 because we want to present as much as possible. So unfortunately, this affected the project very much, yes? And this is also something that was out of our control. At the beginning, we were on the common instance of Jenkins with other components, other companies and other applications. So we decided that we will go to our separate instance because we thought that the issue is that there's too much inside one instance, and we have issues that we are changing, they are changing the configuration due to some other applications. But unfortunately, this list is after that we had our own Jenkins instance and we built our own pipelines, and it was not working even there. Next case, missing index. Very simple. That was not predicted by the developers. Quite an interesting situation because the issue was that we had the processes on E2E that took longer than expected, yes. We received the CPU alert from Mongo that there is something going on. We were spammed with messages from other system. It was really multiplied than the average that we were not aware that we will ever in that application receive such amount. The issue was, the real issue was that there was an outage of that component, and after it was brought back to production, it sent all of the messages in 1 minute to us. So we handled the situation, but what brings us in the first stage, yes, what to do after you have the incident? We just put the index on the database to make it faster. And right now we are not aware that that component will have another outage and will send another number of messages. In a row, we will be able to handle it, and even will be not notified that something is not working. Okay, moving to Azure. This is really simple, and I feel stupid when I'm talking about it because we should expect it, but sometimes as I'm teaching the math to my son, and he's in the 3rd class, and he had some questions and tasks to do, and to be honest, I don't know how to explain to him why it is so easy to get the correct number, because I'm not able to understand the basics because I'm thinking with X, Y, and having it all in mind, and he's not aware of that. And once I even asked him, please ask your teacher how you should resolve it, because I don't know. I just know the number because it's so simple, but how to bring this number on your level, I don't know. And this is the case, that we were too advanced in our thinking, and we received the opposite. So we have the less number of messages on production. And we were checking, right now I will tell that not everything, but we were checking everything possible and everything was working fine. And after some times, the situation goes to normal. And we didn't think that if we are located on 2 Azure regions, there will be an outage on both of them. And we didn't just check what are the Azure informations about possible outages, because it's unusual to have such situation. Here, bringing also other story, if you think how to make your team more being able to understand each other, I am taking my team from time to time to escape rooms. I don't know if you know what is escape rooms. Yes, this is the place that when you are going for 1 or 2 hours, trying to solve the mystery. And I can say that this is quite a simple task, just to go out from the room. But it shows how different we are thinking on a daily basis, how different we look on other tasks, and what is in our mindset, what is the backlog that we are not seeing. We are communicating with the words, but there's a lot of backlog that we think about the words, that we are not representing to each other. So if you want to integrate your team and have the common thinking about the issues, it is good to go to the escape room because it will bring your communication on a different level. Log4j, who was hit by Log4j last year? Some of you. Okay, zero-day exploit, possibility to being invited to our servers. Quite an interesting story. So, of course, we have a Jenkins issue during that time that I'm not happy about. But we even started before it formally was reported at 8 p.m. The 8 p.m. is important hour here, and we bring not only we started to upgrade the application as soon as possible. I will say that QA was not important that time. We didn't change only Log4j, but also upgrade the CDLL. We did some time, we gave some time for the QA. It was about 10 or 15 minutes because it was quite a critical situation. And within 6 hours, what is important, this is not easy to go through all the steps when Jenkins is not working. So within 6 hours, the new app was on all environments worldwide without any issues. But the next day, we received information that 8:16, we are potentially hit by this Log4j issue on E2E. Yes, nothing we can do right now. So what we did after that, we did back up everything that was currently on E2E, just to have the logs, just to have the network, just to have the database after potential attack. After that, we take the backup before the potential attack and bring it back to production, also with bringing the new application with new Log4j and CDLL. So we had the data to analyze what kind of attack it was, how extensive it was, and from the second side, we secured the application. The RCA and lessons learned from that is to kill all of the environments that you could. From our side, the test int, E2E, and prod environment was important because we're building through all of those stages. But to be honest, when we received the information that at 8 that we should fix it, we had 16 minutes to shut down E2E. E2E was important for us around 3 hours later. So for the 3 hours, we could have this environment not available for potential attack. So there was no possibility to shut down production due to the equals process that should be maintained. But generally, for the future, we will kill all of the environments that are not necessary at this specific time of resolution of the incident. The next case is the flawed code. So again, this is an issue out of our control. We are not aware that there is nothing below. The users reported that there is 500 when accessing the app. From our internal access, everything works fine, as usual. Application was on, pods were running, database were running, everything looks like and smooth, all good, yes? So it was E2E environment, so it was not so critical to fix it on the same day. We spent one day of few engineers deeply trying to understand what is going on. And as I said, it was out of our control, because as per report on the right, finally it shows that the whole company has an issue with E2E environment. It was due to deployment from other team. They performed after a few days rollback and deployed again with the fixes. But the clue is the visibility of the issue, because what we introduced after that is not only to look on our incidents, but if we have no clue what is going on, or we are thinking that this is a critical situation reported to us, but the application is working fine, we started not only to check the deployment calendar, because we have something like that with all of the other companies that are inside the ecosystem, and this change was not introduced there, so it was not helping. But what we started doing now, we are just searching in the ITSM for all of the critical or high incidents 1 hour before, 1 hour after we received ours. So right now we can be able to identify that also other applications, we are identifying if other applications are having the same problem. Because if yes, it is quite common that it will not be on our side. So we were blind, the other team deployed the fix, and before that we were not able to identify the root cause. Okay, road login. Quite a simple case again, because we had a partner, I would say, you will bring the risk if you do it manually. That's the sentence from this case. We received from multiple markets, multiple third-party companies, accounts creation into our system just to make their agents to be able to work with the system. And from time to time, we identified that there was an account with mixed name and surname. Yes, so we didn't know what is the issue. We were searching the code. Maybe we were mixing something in case of Italian or India names or surnames. But the case was that they were entering it manually, and there was one employee in that company that was always, when he was creating the new accounts, mixing the name and surname. So we asked that company and then provide the fix, because right now, they make it automatic. So they are delivering the data to us based on their Active Directory. So in case that they will mix it in Active Directory, they will discover it faster, or at least the person will have the login and password working, so it will not be affecting us. So this is also something beyond our control. And they were demanding from us, that's also interesting, that company demands from us that the access for those people are really important right now, and we should change it on production live on the database, yes? So if you will ask me if we change it on production live on database, no. If you will ask me, did we ever change something live on database on production, I will say yes, but it is the case for other talk. Did you change something on production live on database? Okay, thank you. I'm not the only one, so I will not blame myself as much as till today. Let's move forward. Limits. Does the sky is the limit in cloud? Not. We have a delays on message flows on one of the applications that we are supporting. And on the server that was not under our control, that we should not take care of, we should even potentially do not have access to, we identified that there is a DTU size limit reached. And this is the only situation why there is delays on the message flows, yes. So identification was quite clear, still out of our control. Simple change, double the DTU limit resolves the issue. But was that a real fix or just a hot fix? Yes. From my perspective, it was just a hot fix, because we should understand why we reached that limit, why someone said it before. Potentially, it was before someone just stated that it will be great, or it was a default one. And the question is, how often we are coming back to the hot fixes to fix it right? Do we have time for bringing the real solutions for the problems, not to override it? If you have multiple such situations on production that we did 5, 10, 50 hot fixes, what if 5 of them will break? We will have such situation on production. This will be our database, for example, yes? We will know nothing from that. And as I have 2 more samples only, this is the one that I love. This is the shopping one. So we receive a critical incident from one of the markets that application is totally down. Nothing is working, unable to log in, unable to even open the login page and so on. This is not especially technical one, but so true in case of handling issues on production. So true in working with people. What is a critical situation for the user not always is a critical situation on production. And I will say even more, most of the critical situations for the users are not the critical situations on productions. And we do not have, and we will not have the common understanding of that. So here, we had a reporter in a country like Jamaica, or a place like Jamaica, that reported that this is something critical. We were checking everything is working from our side, as usual. Works fine for me. And after some time, we tried to reach him because we want to know more why for him it's not working, like for the other market it's working fine. And after 2 hours of trying to contact him, he responded to the call. He said that, oh, it was resolved 3 minutes after I reported to you, but I go for the groceries and I go to the local market, buy some vegetables, and I left the phone. So yeah, there is no case now, yeah. For engineers, for 2 hours, working on production, checking what is going on, and he was buying the vegetables. So this is the one that I will never forget, and we should be aware of such people also. Potentially, I can bring many more such situations, like discussing 30 minutes. In my previous work, when I was more dedicated to the help desk role, I was asking someone for the 30 minutes because he said that he do not have network connection to check if the cable is not unplugged. And he, for the 30 minutes, convinced me that there is no such possibility because he's sitting here from the very morning and nothing has changed. But after 30 minutes, he checked it and the cable was unplugged. Okay, issue not resolved, the one that I was talking at the very beginning. So the one that is ongoing, we are working on it. When I was preparing to this talk, I was talking with my engineers what they think is interesting to show from the perspective of the real cases on production. So it was something that was reported to us recently. So this is also the sample of our plugin approach. This is about the application that I personally does not know what is doing because we are not taking care of this application at all. We are asked for support because the other teams were not able to know what is going on. And we take a look. As you can see, the Docker on AWS was rebooting from time to time, but first it was rebooting twice a day. And after that, there was some time when we were potentially here invited into the investigation that it was rebooting every 3 minutes. So what we did, we find out that first we reached the maximum amount of DB connections because of some large number of queries. We changed it. It comes back to what we can say normal for that team because they stated that, okay, it can reboot it. It can be rebooting right now 3 times a day. It's not a problem for us. But for me, it's a problem. I don't want to have the situation that we do not understand why the application is rebooting from time to time 3 times a day. So we perform some deeper investigation. We identified 2 SQLs that were hitting us. And the possibility was that we need to check the load balancer logs. We were hit by SQLs. It took over 1 minute to execute it. And then application was rebooting. So we identified 3 servers on production that for now, for today, no one knows what those servers are, but they are killing our app because from time to time they are sending from 10 to 50,000 gets to us. And what is interesting, those gets receives 404 from us because they are not asking for really data. And right now we are asking that company to check what those machines are and why they are communicating with us with this application. We are not able to shut down those connections, to kill them, to block them, because we are not aware of the application. We don't know what we will do for the whole ecosystem. But we identified the root cause, yes? Right now it's a matter of time for potentially blocking this access, those gets. We suppose that this is connected with some load tests or something like that are executed, or some corner case in an application. Okay, as this was the last case that I wanted to present to you today, remember that no matter what criticality you will have on production, what level of radiation you will have on production, this is the level of permanent X-ray going on for you. You need to cover it, yes? Try to be prepared. In many cases, due to the fact that you are not able to predict everything, your playground of resolving the critical incident will look like this. It will be good if you at least have a ball to play with. But for the customer, it should always look like this. This is the sign of city Pripyat, which is near the Chernobyl, and all of the employees from that power plant were working there. So this sign, even now, even today, I don't know today because we got the war in Ukraine, but even today it looks very nice. And based on that, you cannot expect that there was something wrong just a few hundred meters after that, yes? So first, your customer should be convinced that you are prepared and you look like this sign. But second, you should aim to be prepared also as much as possible. Just to recap, please remember that even if the critical situation didn't hit you yet, it will. And you may do during that time all of you can. Check, execute your processes, documentation, procedures, prepare for the impact, and prepare for the biggest one that you can imagine. Remember, your engineers and people that you are working with, you are not one-man army, you are a team army. You should build the confidence that we are helping each other. And also, what will be beneficial for you, give your people the business aspect, the business context about the application, about the cooperation with customer, because then they will not say, working for me, I'm closing the incident, thank you, but they will feel that they need to resolve the issue. Once again, it will happen, and even you think not, it will happen in your next company. Do you have any questions?